Hey, everybody. Welcome to Game Mess Mornings with me, Jeff Grubb, your host from GiantBomb.com. Thank you for tuning in. In this episode, we're going to be talking about ignoring the giant rat to get excited about a video game, and one of the year's biggest third-party releases could yet come to Switch 2. It's going to be a good one because we have TurboShawn McDowell on the show. Sean, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, Jeff. Maybe a little tired. It's one of those weeks where I'm doing a lot again, and I'm trying to get as much time in with Marvel Token as possible so I can
Yeah.
start getting some coverage rolling around here. But yeah, generally feeling good, feeling ready to do a show this morning.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I'm definitely filling, all the free time with a couple of games for work and stuff like that. And so, yeah, and then it's like, all right, look up and look around. I'm like, oh, I got to take care of all these other things as well. But yeah, feeling good about this episode. We're gonna get into it here real soon. Yeah, we were talking before we got started. I do know it's a cultural thing, shorts, right? Like in a lot of cultures, like shorts are not for adults at all. And I'm just like, I
Yeah,
can never live that way.
I forget which ones, but I do remember hearing like an international podcast talking about that a little bit. So that's definitely right. And also like even regional within the US here, people
Yeah.
just do not like wearing shorts for one reason or another. And I get that. I get that.
Yeah. I understand totally, but it's I don't for
Now,
me it's
granted, I disagree with you on a fundamental level. I love shorts, but I
yes.
get it.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I'm wearing them constantly all the time. It's like also like a sensitivity thing. If I too much
Mm,
clothes and I sweat, so let me let the legs free at the very least. Get those ankles out and let
free
them
them
breathe.
legs,
Yeah,
absolutely.
exactly. We were. I know Mike was shamed into wearing pants at Summer Game Fest. Well, at E3. This goes all the way back to E3, and so but I'm like,
E3 makes more sense. Okay.
yes, in E3, and I think I wore pants at E3 as well, even. But Summer Game Fest, we're outside, we're doing it.
Yeah.
It's shorts, baby. It's shorts weather. All right, let's get into this. Let's explain ourselves. We're Giant Bomb. We're internet video game doofuses who want to make a bunch of cool, dumb stuff, and we need your help to do it. Go to giantbomb.com/join and become a premium member. If you do, you're going to be supporting independent games media, and we deeply thank everybody who has come through and supported us and ensures that we can keep doing things the way we want. We got road trip video going up here pretty soon, everybody, and that is
That should be later today, as long as nothing went wrong on YouTube. I've been busy this morning, but Dan got me the file yesterday. You got it to me last night. I uploaded it overnight. We should be good for later today.
It's a lot of fun. It's a big beefy video. We recorded a lot of stuff. Dan did a lot of work piecing it all together from all these different cameras. It's really cool. We all got a chance to watch it. So if you want to to see more stuff like that, go to giantbomb.com/join and support us. It gets you ad-free versions of our shows. It gets you access to premium only content. We announced that next Monday we're going to do the first episode of Cat Jerf Man. Cat, this is the premium blight.
The first ever.
The first ever of where Jerf is going to be playing through Catwoman for the GameCube. We did lose some stuff from that first episode, so we're going to just do it live and then pick up from there. So you all will get to see the reveal. It is special. Like there's no ruining that. No matter what, you guys are going to get a lot out of it. So definitely tune in for that. That will be a premium only live though. So if you want to be a part of that,
Yes.
go to giantbomb.com/join right now and sign up and then show up on Monday here on the site, giantbomb.com/chat, and you're going to be able to see it right there. As far as this show goes, most weekdays, Jeff Grubb, will help piece your gaming life back together. That includes breaking news and maybe even some of our own original reporting. For all these topics, I'll get the input of a bona fide expert who will make me look smart. If you are watching live on Twitch, welcome. You can always listen to the show later on podcast feeds by searching for Game Mess Mornings or find the RSS feed on giantbomb.com. You can also catch the show later with chapters and timestamps on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. All right, we have a lot to get into, so let's start the morning mess with this first story here of more jangling keys from Xbox. Xbox CEO ignored a giant rat to talk up Elder Scrolls 6. This is from Chris Scullion at VGC. Xbox CEO Asha Sharma visited Bethesda Game Studios this week while protesters demonstrated against the company's layoffs. Sharma visited the studio's office on Tuesday, where she says she was shown a live playthrough of The Elder Scrolls 6 and had good things to say about it. What else would she say? Live playthrough of The Elder Scrolls 6, and then she has 8 asterisks here, which people are reading into, but I don't think that's really anything. She said she got a live playthrough this morning. She wrote on Twitter, perhaps hinting at the length of the game's subtitle. Yeah, they even do it here. The scale and grandeur are incredible. The story is even greater. Sharma's visit to Bethesda Game Studios was met with protest from 1BGS, the Bethesda Game Studios Union, and other members of the Communication Workers of America Union, which is the CWS Union. As reported by game developer senior editor Chris Kerr, CWA union members inflated a giant rat and set it up outside the Bethesda Game Studio office as part of the demonstration against Xbox's recent layoffs. They also had red flags planted for every single person that was laid off. So it's like one flag equal one person. There's just like, you could see flags everywhere. It was pretty effective. The rat, which is known as Scabby, is occasionally used during CWA protests to shame unfair labor practices. 1BGS demonstrators also planted hundreds of red flags, as I mentioned here. Yeah, if you ever seen like a protest from a union, you've probably seen Scabby out there. It's that rat, and it's just sitting there. And those people have it's not like they just showed up for Asha. They've been there and been protesting, and they've actually had quite a social media presence where I've seen a lot of the developers from Bethesda Game Studios and ZeniMax Online going on and like kind of explaining what they did and how they felt like they were treated, and like what people can do now to support them and sort of communicate that. And they're trying to get that across still. And Asha Sharma, of course, ignored this. She didn't acknowledge it at all. She laid these people off and is trying to move past it. And I just wonder, it's like, okay, yeah, you're trying to move past it, and you're going to go, The Elder Scrolls 6, it's still coming. Yeah, we know. At this point, these dangling keys are feeling increasingly desperate. At some point, they just got to deliver fun products, because otherwise this just looks like, I don't know, really bad PR. What do you think, Sean?
So first of all, I was going to say, hell yeah, Chris, fantastic headline. I didn't realize there's an actual rat, and that kind of fucking rules. That's even better that there's an actual rat letting everyone know, hey, this business sucks. You got yell at our management, please. Okay, that's cool. I've seen union protests at like chain businesses in the area. I've never seen Scabby the rat. That's hilarious. And also, yes, shame these people to hell and back. Speaking of shaming people to hell and back, of course, Asha isn't gonna like do or say anything about this. She has no shame, like you said. She laid all these people off, so she doesn't give a shit about any of these people. She's just gonna ask Copilot to make her feel better and move on with her day, right?
Yep, exactly. Yeah, that's. I just keep thinking about the Odyssey and Odysseus returning people's shame. Like eventually, maybe that'll happen in our society. It doesn't feel like we're all that close to it in this moment, for sure. It is continually difficult to be excited about anything that Microsoft is involved with at all, even though, of course, I have a long history of liking Bethesda games and wanting these games to be good. I've been looking forward to this game for a long time. The people that are still there working on it, I want them to have improved morale and be able to like feel good about their future. But none of that is included here. This is just about, hey, there's a reason to still be excited about Xbox, and it's this game that is still years away, right? Like we're not expecting The Elder Scrolls 6 before what, Sean? I guess I don't know, like 2030, maybe 2029.
I don't know. Like it's always felt so far away because we've seen and heard nothing. Basically, we had that initial logo reveal, which anyone could told you that's what the logo would be like and what the style of the game would be like, and that was almost certainly just outsourced somewhere or something. I don't think that was representative of anything. Yeah. But it's always felt like so far out of reach that I just can't imagine that's next year or anything. We have to be minimum 2 years away. I'm thinking closer to like 3+. So like I have no idea. I do know that it's like you said, it's a bit hard to be excited about anything Xbox, and that's the eternal problem with them gobbling up all these studios. There's so many studios that I love and so many games from them that I love that it sucks to even studios who have a culture of standing against what Microsoft is about. The fact that, they were purchased by one company, which was then bought by Microsoft. I think of like id, for example, of like they seem to have good work culture there, and they seem to be a good studio just making cool stuff. And then, they're bought by Bethesda, sure, whatever. They keep trucking along. Then Bethesda's bought by Microsoft, and now, well, shit, the studio that I love is now under this umbrella that I hate, and this company that I am personally choosing to boycott as much as I can, and to tell people to be considerate of their money as much as they can, and everything like that. And so when it comes to something like, I can see someone being excited for Elder Scrolls 6, but also maybe being conflicted about, well, do I even want to look in this direction anymore? And as this article says, it's hard to ignore the giant rat. And it's like, these are things we should be thinking about. They should make us a little uncomfortable, because we could talk about no ethical consumption or capitalism, yada, yada, yada. But the more important thing is we are directly seeing the impact of something like Microsoft trying to have monopolistic practices, bringing that from the PC over to video games now, and the ramifications of it, because now it's just a gigantic clusterfuck where we can't we can't have anything nice, is what it feels like.
Yep, absolutely. And as far as like one BGS goes, and the union and the CWA, when you ask, okay, what are they trying to accomplish here? They were just like, hey, this is an existential fight. We're mobilizing to fight back against these layoffs, not just to ensure impacted Xbox devs and testers get treated fairly, but to remind our company and game studios everywhere that layoffs like this cannot continue. If Microsoft leadership does not have the courage to do what's right for our studios to make the best possible games, it's up to us to stand up for each other and protect the future of our careers and the games industry. Yeah, it's I think at a certain point they're like, we have been treated like cattle, and we need to band together and do something here. And that really is the only thing that can change the situation, is if the people who actually make the games use their collective power to change the way that they are treated, and force Microsoft into a position where they can't do the same thing over and over again of building up when times are good, and then laying off when times are bad. And then turning around to the consumer and being like, "Aren't you excited about new video games?" And most consumers going like, "Yeah, of course," because like they don't know how the sausage is made. And then for these people that have been mistreated to feel so used at that point, it's like, hey, you're still like trading your future on our work, and now we are on the sidewalk protesting you. It's got to be very frustrating. And I do encourage people to go like, just search for that tag 1BGS on social media, on Instagram, stuff like that. A lot of smart, sharp people are out there kind of making their voices heard, and I really appreciate that they're doing that. Let's keep going here. Halo campaign evolves. Biggest competition might be Halo. This is from Darren Bonthus at GameSpot. Halo campaign evolved is a celebration of the franchise, but not many people are attending that party. New estimates peg sales at 1.2 million copies sold across PC, the Xbox platforms, and PS5 so far, around $67 million in revenue, which isn't the best start for this remake of the original Halo campaign. Also available via Xbox Game Pass, the game is estimated to have 2.1 million players through the subscription service. According to Alinea Analytics, and their head, Reese Elliott over there, who we've had on the show. Reese is great. There are several reasons for this. Sales are split down the middle between Xbox Series X and S versus PS5 at 42% and 41% respectively, while Steam accounts for 17% of sales. This is up from its launch week sales, but not by much. So what's the reason behind the lukewarm reception of the classic first-person shooter, which has gotten a new coat of paint and some fine-tuning under the gameplay hood? As Elliott noted, Halo campaign evolves. Biggest competition on PC might be another Halo, specifically Halo the Master Chief Collection. The Halo game compilation offers better value for money and includes Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary, a 2015 remake that's pretty solid in its own right, throws in options for multiplayer and more Halo games to the mix, and the $40 price tag is less than the $50 price tag for Campaign Evolved, which is more bare bones in comparison. It has shinier graphics, extra co-op missions, and the ability to sprint in the game. But that's just not enough, it seems, for a lot of people. I think this is kind of where we're at with kind of looking at this and trying to figure out what happened here. A lot of people, even if it's not, I can go get Halo the Master Chief Collection instead. A lot of people are like, no, I already had Halo the Master Chief Collection for a long time now, and that has the multiplayer. And I could just, I'm satiated. I don't need to go through that campaign again, even if it is a little bit shinier. I want this more all-encompassing experience. Do you think that kind of explains what happened here the most, or is it a more complex combination of factors?
I feel like something along those lines is what's happening, because when someone looks at this and they do see that it's, a decently high price tag, even if it's discount from a full price game for a remake of Halo 1, I think even the casual audience knows by now, hey, I've played Halo 1 enough. Do I really need like a pretty version of Halo 1? And certainly the more involved gamer knows that, yeah, the Master Chief Collection does exist. And I think we got into that a little bit on the Bombcast yesterday with Dan. I think the experience that he has with Kayla is kind of more representative of like the more average gamer experience of, hey, isn't that Master Chief Collection thing pretty good? Like, why would I do this new one over the old one that has a bunch more stuff in it and includes the multiplayer and everything like that? It feels like a bit of a confusing release for the audience that they would be trying to capture.
I think so, and it's the strong association with multiplayer is impossible to ignore. If you're someone who's new to Halo, and you're like, it's time to like get into this on PlayStation or whatever, or wherever you're going to buy the game. A big part of that is like, and I want to play all the games. Gamers are so completionist. Gamers have a tendency to be like, hey, I don't even want to like start the later one. I want to go back and start the first game and then play through all of them. And there's a way to do that with the Master Chief Collection. And Campaign Evolved feels like inherently incomplete, where it's not just, you can't get the other games in that style. Maybe you will eventually, but you can't at this moment. But also no multiplayer. Just feels like, oh, I don't have the full package. And again, that applies even to people who might not want to spend a lot of time in the multiplayer. They still want to feel like they are getting everything, and this just feels absent.
Yeah, good point.
I think they probably will like continue to do this, because I think you mentioned yesterday, Sean, when we were kind of having a conversation about this a little bit, that this part of this is just like getting this team up and running on Unreal. So, and that's not going to, the desire to do that won't necessarily go away, although I'm sure they would love to have made more money from this, as that was probably part of the plan as well. But if they do this going forward, like, what do you think the solution should be involving multiplayer? Do you think they should just be like, oh, and here's like a little launcher for the Master Chief Collection multiplayer stuff that you could just go into if you buy Halo 2 Campaign Evolved, or what?
Yeah, I think it's maybe one of the rare cases in which having the Call of Duty app approach would actually be good.
Right, sure.
Granted, not locking things to a launcher, whereas then going to like bombard you with messages before you can get to the game that you purchased. But just in the sense of you launch Halo Campaign Evolved, and there is a multiplayer option, and if you press A on the multiplayer option, it then boots over to the Master Chief Collection and like sort of shortcuts you into the multiplayer. That's like, I forget exactly how Master Chief Collection works, because it sort of like blends all the different multiplayers together, and then you can pick different modes to have the different experiences from each game. But if at least like, I don't know, put you into like a Halo 1 playlist, and like, well, that's your multiplayer because you own both games. And so congrats, like you're set. You have the complete package. You can play this nice new shiny campaign for Halo 1 if they keep going with it, with Halo 2, or like they do something that hasn't had a remake like 3. You could buy that as a standalone product, but then also like very conveniently puts you on the art thing, especially if they like discount the Master Chief Collection. They obviously need to put that. They should put at least the multiplayer on PlayStation, but we're also at the point of, do they care anymore? Right. We don't know, because like with Asha and company talking about exclusives and everything, this entire plan may have just been tossed out the window when she took over, right?
Yep, exactly. That it's hard, like you said, hard to tell. Like what would, like all the motivations that we would have sort of interrogated before, be like, well, it makes sense to do this because they want to do that. All that got thrown out the window, and we have to reassess everything. And it's like, yeah, maybe it's all just about locking things back down on Xbox, the Xbox console. And so, yeah, what would be the point of going through all this effort to try to do any of this on PlayStation? You mentioned like the launcher and stuff like that, and it's so weird to think how that's maybe it's not becoming more popular, but every time I do get into that Call of Duty launcher, I think about Sakurai talk about him saying he didn't want to have the Dolby Pro Logic 2 in Smash Brothers because he hated the idea of a splash screen. He just like when you start a game, it should start right away.
Hell yeah.
I'm like, hell yeah, that's my dude. That's a guy who plays games right there. I can tell.
Yeah, get me into the video game. I respect that. Hell yeah.
I really do respect that. All right, let's do this next story real quick. Meccha Chameleon has sold 20 million copies. The developer officially announced that Meccha Chameleon has passed that 20 million unit sold mark. It launched only a little over 2 months ago. That's after the game reached 10 million in only 16 days. It's a combination of a very low price, streamer-friendly hide-and-seek gameplay, and user-created content that has turned it into one of 2026's freak breakout successes. Yeah, God, man, I when it got to 10 million, I'm like, yeah, that's what these games do. And then it just keeps going. It's at 20 million already. I guess to me, the thing I take away from this, Sean, is it's a reminder that we talk about, oh, things are very different from the pandemic days, and that wider audience, maybe it's not there anymore. It's like, there is a wider audience, and it's morphed into playing these games. They want to play games with their friends still. There's a game night happening in just about every friend group pretty regularly, and they're looking for games like this. Is that something that the rest of the industry can catch on to that trend? Because it seems like the trend can support. Like, I know, right? It's scary, right? As soon as you start saying that, like, I don't think Ubisoft could figure this out.
No. Well, okay. So the biggest thing here is the price. Because when you have something like I will try to convince my friends to play a game, and if it's even like a $20 game, they're like, I don't know if I'm gonna like this one. Like $20, that's way cheaper than the average game, but it's it's not nothing. I still can't think about my finances. I can't spend $20 a week every single week we want to play a game. But the second I tell them, guys, new $5 friends lap just dropped, they're taking the wallet out, they're going to the Steam store, they're like, oh hell yeah, I'll drop $5. Like that's like we went to the movies or something. Not even, that's like half of a movie nowadays, whatever. So like they'll drop the $5. I think that's how we get to something like this, selling 20 million, because you can't regurgitate the same idea over and over and expect people to pick it up. Like if there's a million Peak clones, eventually it's going to peter out the same way it did with, say, like a Lethal Company.
That has petered out, hasn't it?
Yeah, what was the one content warning that we played? Like, we're like, you have an interesting spin on it. Okay, sure. People will pick that one up too, because they're still kind of riding the high, and this one kind of improves things over the first one. Sure, I'll pick that up. But that doesn't continue forever. And eventually people want something new, something different, something interesting. I think Meccha Chameleon brings... there's probably an entire generation that has never even heard of prop hunt. So this being a very unique take on the concept. So people who are familiar with it, people who are not familiar with it, can pick it up and say, oh yeah, this is our new thing, because I haven't really played anything like this before. And it's cheap. It's a no-brainer. So that's how you get to like the 20 million. And I think that's where the large companies sort of miss the point. Because this is a game that like two people or something, or I believe it's two people in like 2 months kind of just slapped together, and then they put it on a Steam store, and just because it's a neat, interesting take, it blew up. But you're not going to have that, like you said, with like Ubisoft or something. You're not going to have that with these $60, $70 games that take the 100+ people to make, and it takes them minimum 1 year to put out. You just can't replicate that, and that's what's special about the indie scene. That's sort of the magic that's there, and that we're still capitalizing on, which is great. I see a new indie game pop up every week that I'm interested in checking out. Like you mentioned the pinball game, I forget the name, but on the Bombcast this week, Flippin' Heck. That looks cool. I know cool. Fields of Mystria finally got its 1.0 release. I'm gonna check that out over the weekend. Like there's always something like inexpensive and cool to check out on the indie scene, and that's how we get this level of success.
One I'm going to be playing this week, Pro Jank Footy, which is this is like a roguelite weird. It might be Aussie rules football. I'm assuming that because it's made in conjunction with one of the comedians from Auntie Donna, which had a Netflix show. People might remember that comedy group. But it looks pretty cool. It looks pretty neat, and that's out today. So and I like, man, that new have you seen like the Steam calendar thing, your personal calendar?
Yeah,
I think it's pretty good, actually. It's pretty
pretty
good, like
good.
at like surfacing things I might be interested in. So I'm like looking at
Yeah.
that. That's on there, and some other stuff. That Wild Blue Skies is out this week. The Fox
Oh, it
clone. So
finally is nice. I'll check
yeah,
that
it's
out.
out tomorrow. So
Yeah,
yeah,
Steam's good about recommendations as well, I think. So that's
yeah.
probably how something like this gets surfaced for a lot of people. So even if they don't, listen to a podcast like ours, they can still like find Meccha Chameleon, even if they play it solo or something. And like you said, that calendar is pretty good because it's utilizing that recommendation. So you can just see what should I buy this week on Steam, which I'm sure Valve is very happy about as well.
Oh yeah. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, plenty of more headlines to get into. If you hate these ads, we offer a way to get past them. Just go to giantbomb.com/join, ad-free version of the audio and video show there. We will be right back. All right, we're back. It's Game Mess Mornings. Jeff Grubb, Sean, TurboShawn McDowell. We're getting back into the headlines right now with a Switch 2 port of Crimson Desert is being planned for the first half of 2027. This is from Chris Scullion at VGC. A Switch 2 version of Crimson Desert is being planned for the first half of next year, according to developer Pearl Abyss. In its latest earnings letter to shareholders, Pearl Abyss stated that it was preparing DLC, strategic pricing, and platform expansion for Crimson Desert to ensure long-term success. It then specifically mentioned a Switch 2 version, saying, for platform expansion, the core focus is ensuring that Crimson Desert's signature graphics, action, and open world experience are fully preserved rather than executing a simple port. In the case of the Switch 2, the game has reached a playable baseline, and we are currently conducting a technical review regarding performance optimization and quality standard compliance, targeting a release in the first half of next year. Later in the document, the studio went into more detail on this, expanding on its test to see how feasible a Switch 2 port of Crimson Desert is. We are striving to make Crimson Desert available across as many platforms as possible, it explained. However, platform expansion is not merely a straightforward port. The key requirement is ensuring the game's graphics, blah, 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 kind of restating what they said. In the case of the Switch 2, while optimization is required, the game is currently playable at a foundational level, and technical evaluations are underway to ensure those aforementioned optimizations. Oh, okay. What do you think, Sean?
Define playable.
Yeah, I mean, okay, like we've been surprised by the Switch 2 a number of times now. I'm still like this one, man, that world, the CPU demands,
Right. That's the problem.
yeah, this one seems a bit out of reach. I will be very curious to see what this looks like.
Yeah. God, I cannot wait for the Digital Foundry video on this one.
Yeah.
Because like you said, CPU is the big issue here, and whereas the Switch 2 specifically sort of punches above its weight thanks to DLSS, so it can render the game internally at pretty low resolution and then upscale to something that looks pretty nice.
Yep.
That really high quality upscaling and work there. Man, I just when it comes to CPU stuff, it's still a handheld. It's still not exactly. It's not a miracle worker. It does not have the raw horsepower of, say, even like a Series S or something that is a dedicated PC style CPU that's plugged into the wall, sipping a bunch of power and everything like that. I have no idea how they're gonna get it to run decently well on the Switch 2. Like I define decently well. I don't even have high hopes. I'm like, give me like 720p 30 fps out of this game. That's kind of what I expect out of it. Maybe it upscales a little bit higher on your TV, like they get a decent 1080p image or something like this. I don't know, man. I don't have faith in this port. I good luck, I guess, because
Yeah.
I'm curious more than anything is where I'm at with this one.
Yeah, I think the one point of reference that does make this feel like, okay, maybe it's possible is the game that's most similar to this in terms of CPU performance and open world, and that's Dragon's Dogma 2, which we are
Oh,
hearing good things about.
I
That
was gonna say Oblivion.
Oblivion, yeah, and Oblivion, right? But Oblivion, and but that one's like, you would expect the CPU demands on that one to be less than, because it's that
I
has a
thought
lot.
it was high for the PC. I could be misremembering.
No, I think it might.
You have a better point with Dragon's Dogma, though.
Yeah, but I think it might have high demands for CPU, but it's weird. There should be ways to scale it down because that's an older game, right? They should be able to figure that out. Dragon's Dogma 2, like, yeah, there's I think Capcom themselves was saying it exceeded their expectations. Now, of course, they're selling something, so we'll wait and see. But I think the people that did get a look at it were like, okay, this is going to work, and then hopefully that stuff filters back into the rest of the platforms. But if Dragon's Dogma 2 can work I suppose you can get Crimson Desert into a way that is acceptable. But both of those, I'm still in a wait and see. I need to see for myself. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the Digital Foundry getting into the guts of both of these and kind of showing us what can happen there. I do think the Switch 2 continues like we're still early years. But it's like, oh, these games are working on there. I'm still surprised. I know we'll get on the other side of that not too long from now, where it's like, oh, this third-party game just straight up is not going to work on Switch 2. And I would assume that would be Crimson Desert, but I guess at this point, maybe they're going to be able to figure it out.
Yeah, the nice thing about a Switch 2 port coming later, as much as, for people who primarily like to play on their Switch 2, that can be a bit of a bummer. The nice thing is that it does allow the studio to get the extra time for optimization, because when you're just trying to get a game out the door, unfortunately, optimization is one of the biggest things that suffers. PC gamers know that all too well. But when you're not trying to rush out the door, you have a little bit more time, maybe even like the deadline, the release date is a little bit more flexible. You can take the extra time to get the game optimized. I forget which one it is off the top of my head. If people can remember the exact thing I'm thinking of, there was a Switch game where it came out not at Switch, non-Switch at launch. And the devs explicitly said, yeah, because we had additional time for it, we could optimize the game heavily, which allowed the Switch port to happen. So I think that's probably what we're going to see with plenty of Switch 2 games. And maybe that's what will happen here with Crimson Desert.
Yeah, and it's worth pointing out in the same breath that there have been games that were scheduled to come to Switch 2 and have been delayed or indefinitely delayed or potentially even canceled. I'm thinking, like, was it Borderlands 4? I think there was a couple of them. Chat might be able to help us out to remember there. So it's not like, oh, across the board, all these games are working and it's no headache. If it does work, you're right. I think you illustrated it there where it's when they get extra time to optimize, they can figure it out. And at the very least, it seems like it's worth it for them so far. That might be what really happens is they look at the bar graph of, their spreadsheet. It's like, yeah, maybe we can get to acceptable performances, but now the audience has so many games to buy that we won't be able to stand out in the crowd anymore. So we aren't going to do that work. And that could happen here pretty soon. Okay. Phantom Blade Zero pre-orders now available. There's an 11-minute trailer and a dedicated state of play is set for August 17th. This is from Sal Romano at Gamatsu. S-Game has opened pre-orders and released an 11-minute trailer for Wuxia? I'm not sure how to say that. Action RPG Phantom Blade Zero. Additionally, Sony Interactive Entertainment announced it will host a special Phantom Blade Zero gameplay deep dive state of play on August 17th at 7 p.m. Pacific time, 10 p.m. Eastern. That's on that's August 18th at 11 a.m. Japanese Standard Time or Japanese Summer Time. I'm not sure which one that is. You will be able to watch it on YouTube and Twitch. They also gave some details about like the pre-orders, like when you're pre-ordering your digital pre-order, the standard edition gets you early unlocks, some things like that. But there's a deluxe edition for $70 that has basically a bunch of outfits, a bunch of cosmetics, maybe some digital art books and things like that. All right, Sean, where does this one rank on like the Sean-o-meter for character action games? How are you feeling about it? What are you thinking?
This one has always looked different to me. It looks interesting in a way that I think some of these character action games haven't. If people have the time, check out the pre-order trailer, which, God, what a concept. But check out that trailer that they released this morning. It solves some of my issues that character action games haven't really been addressing in recent times, of taking us to different environments, showing off a bunch of different weapons, showing off how the bosses all have good variety. I don't know, something about this one like really looks unique when a lot of character action games, because they blended like Souls-like elements into their gameplay, I think they've sort of missed the point of both character action and Souls and what makes both great. And I think in part of that is that they're just like, environments need to be dour, just like gray and earthy green environments. Like that's, kind of my problem with, say, Beast of Reincarnation is I'm like, I'm just in the forest the whole goddamn game and it looks boring as hell. Give me something unique. And looking at that trailer for Phantom Blade Zero this morning, I was like, oh, this is looking sharp. They're taking me to some wild, twisted environments. We're scaling a mountain at one point, so it's like a snowy environment. There's some bosses that vary from just like your average like guy on the ground sort of rival fight. But then you have like this puppet lady like hanging from the ceiling of like some twisted dimension or something like that. It looks it looks pretty cool. And then seeing the weapons actually have a good amount of variety as well. That's also something that's been missing. For example, with Beast of Reincarnation, only having a sword and nothing else. Um,
Uh-huh.
I'm looking forward to this one. I think it's looking really good. I think it's shaping up to be something pretty cool. Which, yeah, I don't want to get my hopes too high because sometimes these games show really well in a trailer, and they they don't actually end up that way when you get your hands on them. Like with a trailer, it's always it's hard to tell, does this game look cool because his player expression and the players doing cool things, and like it is sort of like a fighting game stringing together really awesome stuff in order to make the trailer look cool, or is
Right.
the game kind of playing itself and that's why the trailer looks cool, is that there's just like really good cinematography and everything like that. But based on the gameplay we've seen, I think it's leaning towards the former, so I'm curious to see more.
Yeah, and I do know we've had some hands-on. The people have played this game and said good things about what they felt about how game actually performs in terms of what it feels like to play. And then I can't remember. Does S Game have a pedigree? Is this one of these studios that kind of came out of nowhere and is making one of these games?
I'm not familiar with them.
Yeah, I was like, oh, yeah, I can't remember. Maybe they came from mobile. I know that was one of these studios, but I don't think that's S
Shift Up.
Game. Yeah, Shift Up. Yeah, that was Shift Up, right? Yes. So, at the very least, though, like I know people have been interested in this for a while. It does seem like it's building up to a point of. I think Sony believes in it the way they believed in what was Shift Up's game. I can never remember. I can
Stellar Blade.
Stellar Blade. Thank you. They believed in Stellar Blade, and they seem to be mostly right about that. I think they're kind of
What?
they have
Yeah,
the
good
same idea
point.
here. Yeah.
Yeah, because this isn't published by PlayStation, but they have a marketing deal. That's why
Yeah.
there's like the state of play and everything like that. By the way, do you remember the last trailer we got for Phantom Blade Zero? They like lingered. It was in like the state of play, the last day of play. They lingered on a shot of a dude in a mask, and we were like, why'd they linger on that character? What was the significance of that? Did you see the trailer this morning?
No, I've not seen it yet. No.
The dude takes off his mask, and the
Oh.
reason that they played up is because
Okay. I do know
it's
this. I
Donnie
understand.
Yen.
Donnie Yen. Yes, Donnie Yen
Who
is in the
is-
game. Yep.
he's playing that character and is a consultant on the choreography of the game. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, now it makes sense.
Yes, that is right.
Why
Yeah.
they played that up.
Apparently, they hired him as a consultant like way back in 2023. He's been doing it for a long time, and then yes, he's going to be the mentor character or something like that. Yeah, that's
Yeah, it maybe kind of looks like maybe a Virgil kind of character, something like
Sure.
that, like a friend slash enemy kind of situation. But maybe that's part of why the game looks so fluid in motions, because they had like an actual martial artist like saying, all right, like this is how you're going to choreograph.
They
do the
at least had a
choreography
North
here.
Star. They're like, we know what we want you to feel. We know what we want it to look like, and we want it to look like a Donnie Yen action movie. And it's like, okay, yeah.
Exactly.
And if you can get anywhere near that, it's probably going to feel pretty sick. So, yeah, okay. Again, that's August 17th. That's 5 days from now. So early next week, we'll get some details about this. Cool. I'll be paying more attention to it for sure. Yeah. Someone in chat said, "Oh yeah, just Donnie Yen being involved does get me more interested." I'm with you on
There
that.
you go.
Images of a 40th anniversary Legend of Zelda Switch 2 and Pro Controller have reportedly leaked. We mentioned this briefly on the Bombcast yesterday, but let's get into some of the details. From Chris Scullion at VGC, images of a Nintendo Switch 2 console and Pro Controller based on The Legend of Zelda have reportedly leaked. The reported images show the packaging for a Nintendo Switch 2 console with a custom dock and Joy-Con, as well as separate Switch 2 Pro controllers. Both packaging images show a 40th anniversary logo, implying that the alleged products are designed to mark the 40th anniversary of The Legend of Zelda, rather than the upcoming Ocarina of Time remake. The images were shared online by Brazilian journalist and Universo Nintendo editor-in-chief Necro Felipe Lima, who previously claimed to have been shown both products. According to the reporter, the images are exactly as I saw it previously. When one follower asked him if the console or controller images were fake, he replied, "Both are legit." Lima previously accurately leaked the Nintendo Switch 2 logo back in January 2025 before it was revealed by Nintendo, after claiming he had been sent a photo from a reliable source. And as I mentioned yesterday, we've been hearing about this for a long time. This is like both these things, both the Pro Controller and the Switch 2, and the fact that they were going to be related to the 40th anniversary of Zelda more than the Ocarina of Time game release. What do you think, Sean?
I think they look sharp is what I think. And don't worry, everybody, I'm working to get these images in the scene. Don't you worry.
Okay.
Um, yeah, it looks really cool, and I am kind of glad that they did go for maybe more of a general Zelda theme than specifically Ocarina of Time, because I was thinking like, what would Ocarina of Time really look like? I thought of like that new 2DS XL. Oh, I was not the biggest fan of that one because it was like it was Hylian Shield themed, which was like fine. It was
It's
like a
fine.
nice shade of blue and everything, but it didn't really scream Zelda to me in the way that, like the like Mike was talking about is like Majora's Mask 3DS, and I think that the Link Between Worlds 3DS XL looks really nice as well. When they go for that more golden color scheme, I think that looks really nice, and yeah, I think this one looks really cool. Do you think it's like indicative of anything that it is 40th anniversary themed rather than Ocarina of Time? Like, do you think they're going to lean into more 40th anniversary stuff? Are we going to get some kind of, I don't know, blowout of Zelda stuff or anything like that?
I mean, obviously, like this is meant to make it a little bit more all encompassing, to make it easier to promote the movie, which I'm sure will have Ocarina of Time as probably its central pillar, but maybe it's not going to be straight up called Ocarina of Time. Like, it's probably just, they're just calling it The Legend of Zelda. Um, and so I think this enables them to bring that in a big way, and it's the 40th anniversary, and that can continue through the release of the movie, and then the Ocarina of Time can be there to capture those sales or whatever. The question that I think you're posing, and that I've been wondering too, Sean, is like, does it go beyond that? Are there other aspects? I think we can all expect merch. There's going to be T-shirts to buy and toys and plushies or whatever. That's sort of table stakes. Are there any other like Zelda games? Does something like that happen? And I don't know. They're probably going to focus on Ocarina of Time. I would like die for an HD upscaled, maybe slightly edited version of the original The Legend of Zelda. Like
Hmm.
just take that first game and do a couple of things with it. Maybe even like have it all, like an option to like click over to orchestrated music. That might just be all I need. And then but also keep the original music in there so I can flip back and forth because that's still great. But I really don't expect anything like that. I think that's me just wishful thinking.
Zelda 40. So new battle royale.
Yeah, I mean, like something along those like and a weird NSO game. It's not impossible. Like a battle royale, that'd be crazy. But I mean, 40 links drop onto, I don't know, Kokiri Island or whatever. Shit, I don't know.
Yeah, just put 40 links into the starting area of Zelda 1. They all like file into the cave there. Like,
That's funny.
That could be pretty fun.
That's like the way the Mario Brothers worked, right? Where like Mario 35 was like, you kind of got left behind if you didn't make it to that screen. And it's like, if you could get like, you have to get to like the first dungeon.
Have the objective change. Have it be a little NES remix of like, okay, first person to beat the second boss, go. Or like, first person to figure out a way to beat Ganon in the next 20 minutes or something like that. Like, they could get like a little more. They'd have like difficulty levels of like it starts to get more speedrunner ish. That could be pretty cool.
I think there's a small chance that there's like some other thing, some other game, but a very very small chance. I think they like to have one big Zelda thing a year. Ocarina of Time. Maybe they could tease something for next year. If Ocarina of Time is coming out this year, maybe they'll have something to tease for next year. That might be what we get. Because the 40th anniversary again will go long, like well into the movie's release and the movie's like home video release. They'll still be talking about the Zelda 40th anniversary.
And Nintendo does like to celebrate the entire year, not necessarily like calendar year, but like the date to date 365 days. So
yep. It's like it just becomes part of their marketing campaign. They did it with Mario to great success, I think, in their opinions. So yeah, I think they'll just keep replicating that. Last couple of stories here. Last few stories. 2011 action RPG, The Lord of the Rings: War in the North gets a new Legacy Edition with more classic releases coming. This is from Chris Scullion at VGC. War in the North is that 2011 action RPG originally published by Warner Brothers Interactive, and it has been given a modern re-release. Aspyr has handled development and publication of the new Legacy Edition version, which it says is under license from Warner Brothers. The studio also teases that more ports are to follow, referring to the game as its first Lord of the Rings title, and promising that fans can look forward to even more classic releases by Aspyr from the beloved franchise in the future. Aspyr previously was doing this with Star Wars games. they either ran out of Star Wars games or like the licensing deal on that just went to someone else. That feels like the more likely situation here. So they're shifting that strategy over to the Lord of the Rings. Spire can be hit and miss with this stuff, but I like a lot of those Lord of the Rings games from this time when it was like the movies were huge and they were a lot of them were coming from either EA or from Warner Brothers. And I think people do like this one quite a bit. I don't know if I ever played this one. I definitely like the Two Towers and then Return of the King, and then the one after that even that was like was it the War of the Rohirrim or something? I can't remember what it was called. There was another there was another one after that that was like, hey, we'll keep going even though there's not another movie coming. Those were all pretty good. But this more action RPG one, I've not checked out. I think we should throw it into UPF maybe. Check it out and try to play it.
Sure.
So,
yeah, get some nerd with like Tolkien in their name to play it or something. I don't know. If we can find a jackass like that. I'm not a huge Lord of the Rings person, so naturally I never played this game. So I was gonna ask you like what you thought of it, but if you haven't played either, well, I guess that's where we're at.
Yeah, exactly.
But,
I'm sorry, real quick. So people do keep mentioning this. There's a Lord of the Ring Final Fantasy X like. Is that Third Age? I think that might be Third Age.
It's just like one of the movie ones was that because Final Fantasy X blew up. Why not have your fantasy game ape that, right?
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, I saw someone stream it semi recently, and it's just Final Fantasy X. So I'm sure it's pretty solid. Yep. What I do know is that it is cool to see these old games come back, especially like some of the underappreciated ones, especially if they can come in at budget price, because as much as like you and I are super into emulation and everything, or PC gaming for that matter, which is where some of these things tend to be preserved, it's important to note that not everyone's going to do that. Some people just want the easy release because they don't want. They want to be official. They might want a physical copy. They might not know anything about how to start with, like, how do I get a PS2 game to run on my laptop or something like that. And so rather than spend, several hours trying to like figure that out because they're just completely unfamiliar, they want something that's easy. I think just like, I work all day. I will just plunk down $20 to get this game again on, PSN or my Switch or whatever. That's awesome. And especially for like if they can figure out how to get certain things going again, like I see in chat, someone mentions like for multiplayer games, like if they can figure out an online multiplayer or a split screen multiplayer, and that's a little bit easier. This one does have online
co-op, which is like, that's exciting to me. Yeah.
Exactly. So, that's cool. And so I do like to see these re-releases, and anytime someone's like, oh, what's even the point of putting out a release like this? It's to keep a game relevant and, more importantly, at least decently preserved. There's no perfect solution when it comes to stuff like that unless it's releasing on GOG or a similar service. But bringing it back in some way is a way to at least keep it alive.
Yeah, it's got play with up to 2 friends online, or it has split screen co-op just built right in, so you could still do that. That of course it does, because it's just a port of that old game. The game is $20 right now, and then you can get it on Steam. I think you can also maybe get it on GOG. But yes, I guess now I'm looking at Steam. It's $18 because it has that 10% launch discount that Steam often does. Ghost of Yotei expansion, roguelike survival mode, and complete edition have been announced. This is from Eddie McCoo at GameSpot. Sucker Punch has made several announcements about Ghost of Yotei, including that new expansion. The new narrative expansion is called Echoes of Sekigahara, and it's split between the present day and flashbacks. Players will meet a new character, Nagato, who is a figure from Atsu's past. The expansion also takes players to new places. In the present, they'll visit a valley once inhabited by the snake and his followers, and the vipers is the name of the followers. Sorry, this one just popped up right before, so I haven't had a chance to read this one. In the past, players will take part in the Battle of Sekigahara. New enemies, weapons, armor sets, and dyes are also included in the expansion. The new combat survival mode, meanwhile, is called Most Wanted. The single-player mode is our spin on a roguelike. Sucker Punch said you'll accept bounties in order to start new runs, where taking down enemies will earn you perks as well as unlock additional characters to play as, the studio said. More details are coming later, but for now, the announcement trailer shows that Atsu will fight with her dual katana setup, while Oyuki battles with the Kusarigama, and Nagata does damage with a Yari. which are all weapons I'm completely familiar with. Finally, the developer announced a $70 complete edition of Ghost of Yotei. In addition to the base game and everything mentioned above, players get the online co-op mode, Ghost of Yotei Legends. The bundle also includes all of the content from the game's digital deluxe edition. Anyone who already owns Ghost of Yotei can get Echoes of Skigahara and Most Wanted by purchasing the complete edition upgrade for $15. Yeah, I guess I wasn't expecting more content for this game. I thought the Legends would be it. But yeah, they're going to continue to support it. And it makes sense. This is one of their most successful franchises right now. It does very, very well for them.
Yeah, and like you tend to mention, this is a way for them to keep that price point up. So that way, people want the price point to go down over time, and this is a way for them to keep that $70 price around, which makes sense. And at least it is $70 for everything. So that way, if you're buying in for the first time, it is just a full price game. You can also wait for that to go down price if you really want to. So that's kind of nice. Yeah, it seems like they're adding some interesting stuff in here. There's our spin on a roguelike. It seems like they sort of got the bug over there with the roguelikes over at PlayStation Studios, because it was God of War Ragnarok.
Yep.
Yeah, they had one in there. Then obviously we have stuff like Saros and whatnot, but it seems like that's maybe the easiest way to create a DLC. Still a lot of work put into it, but you see something
we have all this content, right? Yeah, you could just do something with that. Roguelike makes sense.
Like that's why Resident Evil did it. Leon Must Die Forever was like, let's just remix these assets in a way where it's like, let's just put them in order and you get various weapons to use and everything like that. It's a way to sort of do an asset flip, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but just like to take what you have on hand and then spin it in a way where you can put something out a little bit quicker, a little bit easier, and then charge a small amount for it to get a little bit more out of that audience if they want more out of the game, and also keep that price up, like I said.
And if it if it was one of these takes off, it's like when you got several thousand people playing this game nonstop for months at a time, years at a time, coming back to it later. You could do smaller updates to it. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
All right, then last story here before we talk about what's happening for the rest of the week. Disney confirms D23 Kingdom Hearts panel details. This is from Wesley Yinpool at IGN. Kingdom Hearts 4 news looks set for later this week after Disney confirmed the details of its Kingdom Hearts panel at the fan convention D23. A live stream of the deep dive into Kingdom Hearts panel at D23, which is what it's called, will be available on August 15th at 4:30 p.m. Pacific time, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. Let's see here, and then that'll be like midnight, 12:30 UK time. Disney said it will offer a behind-the-scenes look at the making of the games, but it's who's on the panel that has fans excited. There is a picture now of like Haley Joel Osment and a lot of the other key characters from the game, like David Gallagher, who voices Riku, and Renee Johnson, who is behind the Disney character voices. So basically, they're like, they're bringing in the main characters. They're probably going to have something to say about Kingdom Hearts 4. And it feels like time. It's probably time for that. They want to wash away the bad taste in everyone's mouth from Kingdom Hearts 3, which every time that comes up, my understanding is people hate that game, but I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, Sean. I haven't played it. I don't know. I don't have an opinion.
I'm shooting my shot. We ain't seeing shit about Kingdom Hearts 4.
That would rule, actually.
If anything, we get a trailer that's exactly like the last trailer, which was exactly like the reveal trailer. It's just going to be Sora in that gray PS3 city, and we're going to get nothing else. They're just going to give us a different camera angle of the same goddamn trailer. Because why was the Nintendo Direct trailer basically the exact same thing?
If it was so weird.
Anything else to show, wouldn't you think it would be at the Nintendo Direct? Like I don't know. Like just for a D23 panel, I don't see us getting like anything significant. Maybe they'll talk around the game, show some concept art or something. I just have low expectations for this one. Now, granted, I would like to be wrong. I used to be a Kingdom Hearts fan, and I would like to I would like to see something sick about Kingdom Hearts 4. I don't know if we didn't see anything at that last showing. My faith is low at this point.
Yes, I think that's the safe position to take here. In the meantime, they had a separate post where Square Enix confirmed that Kingdom Hearts 4 will launch simultaneously for PC and Steam. PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, as well as Nintendo Switch 2. So gotta be on everything, everywhere.
Yeah, and hey, Square Enix kind of learned their lesson. They need to play as many places as possible right out the gate.
Yep, they are. I think they're going to be the ones most like sort of gung ho about that going forward for a while, of like making sure their games are everywhere. Okay, that does for the big headlines. This week, as I mentioned earlier, Pro Jank Footy launches across PC, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, Switch, and Switch 2 today. Also happening today, Everspace 2 Galactic Edition arrives on Switch 2. That Surprise War in the North Legacy Edition is available now. And the Kinetic Publishing Showcase begins at 3 p.m. Eastern, revealing the first wave of games from the publishing arm of Phasmophobia developer Kinetic Games. Oh. Tomorrow, Madden NFL 27 gets its worldwide launch at 2 p.m. Eastern. It's available now if you got like the early access, more expensive version. This game's also on Switch 2 and PC. And then the VR Games Showcase is tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern. All right, we have a poll question from Monday we should get to. Let me bring up the most recent results over here. I'm refreshing. Are you playing any Blizzard games right now? Yes or no? 13% said yes. 87% said no. I wonder where the baseline for that would be like during the Overwatch years, like the heavy Overwatch years, like 2017. Probably like a little bit higher, but not that much higher. At any given time, I bet it's right that like 1 in 10, 2 in 10 players are playing Blizzard games. Like they're just over World of Warcraft, Overwatch, Diablo. They're so ever present that makes sense. We have a new poll question we'll get to here in a second. First, let's talk about what we have going on Giant Bomb, Sean. Let's see. It's. Let me look at what day of the week.
It's Wednesday.
No, that doesn't sound right. Today's Thursday, everybody. So, all right. Yeah,
Suit up, baby.
I'll be suiting up as Cyberdillo, and I will be playing more Cyberdillo for the 3DO platform. That is just so exciting. That's later today. It's 2 p.m. Eastern. Tune in for that. I promise to make some progress. Oh man, I shouldn't say that. I probably just cursed myself. But yeah, that's happening. And then tomorrow's Thursday, Voicemail Dump Truck, UPF on Friday. We'll bring a bunch of games. I think we're going to do Agent 64, this War in the North game or whatever it's called. Should be a good time. Anything else we should mention, Sean? I guess, later today, we believe the road trip video is going up.
Yep, it should, unless something went horribly wrong, which I do not believe it has.
All right, fantastic. All right, then, Sean, why don't you tell people where they can find you on the internet, what you have going on, all that good stuff?
If you want to catch more of me, TurboShawn everywhere, SHAWN. That's me on Blue Sky. That's me on Twitch if you want to watch my live streams. Like I mentioned on the Bombcast, I've been doing some streams on the weekend so that way I can have a reason to play some of the games that I maybe wouldn't normally play. I really get into retro stuff over there. So if you want a place to hang out on the weekend, sort of just chill, we like to keep the vibes good over there and not be, getting at each other's throats like people tend to do on the internet. Come hang out with us. But otherwise, just right over here and helping out with everything on production side of things.
Thank you, Sean. And thank you for hanging out with me today and talk about video games, man. I really appreciate it.
It's always a fun time, Jeff.
Thank you all for watching and listening. You are the best audience in gaming. Until next time, have a good one. Take care of yourself and goodbye.